Okay, I'm going to make this somewhat easy, somewhat simple. I've run ahead and did a whole bunch of it already, so we can just cut to it. First, before I start anything, I'm going to say this real quick. I am only showing you this. I am not encouraging you to do any copying of anyone else's graphics, etc., to claim it as your own. So that is my blanket statement. This is not my file. This is not my artwork. I am simply showcasing and showing you how to print a stationary file, a flat surface file like a bamboo on a Prusa. This should also work on an Ender. Pretty much any FDM printer should work. There's going to be some manipulation that you're going to be doing within Prusa Slicer. I don't know Cura. I'm not going to lie. I don't know Cura. I don't like it. I despise it. And I have S3D. I use it on some other things. I have not tested it with this. So with that being said, let's get into it, and I'll show you really quick kind of a concept that I'm doing, and that should give you kind of the baseline of how to actually do this and then start tweaking your own. If you've seen some of my recent pictures that I've done some coasters of some military patches. I've done a Ford emblem with the American flags. I'm working on some other things that are coming down the pike. And people have been asking me, how do you do this? So without further ado, I'm going to show you. Okay, so we went to Google. I found this image. I copied it. Now, I took it into Paint. This was the original artwork. I went in, and if you need to understand how to do something in Paint, that you can ask me privately or publicly, and basically I'll show you. But realistically, it's you take this little blobber right here for the color picker. You do that, then you come in and you grab a brush and you say, okay, what size do you want? And then you start coloring it. Okay, stay within the lines. If you can't stay in the lines, get a coloring book. There you go. Just kidding, not trying to be sarcastic, just trying to be a little bit comical. All right, so you've finished that. So now you are, let me find that right quick, you're this finished product, okay? Now, I have a couple of different programs open that I have done to get to the next stage, and that is basically going to be taking this and putting it in a 3D builder. The first one is, some of you may not have this. This is Adobe Photoshop, Photo Elements. You can do this by vectoring out the background and to where you only have the photo that you want to deal with, and then you can put it in a 3D builder and cut it out. If you don't have that, you can always go to Luban3D.com. Shout out to my boy Lu Ji Chen for designing this piece of software. What you do is you basically invoke, there's a 2D window that when you first do it comes up. You invoke that 2D window, you come over here to Tool, you load your file, you say Threshold, Manual, Preserve High, and you click OK. This is what you're going to get. You export it out. Once you do that, then you start bringing it into 3D Builder. Now, this one right here is on Luban. Now, I've scaled it a little bit, but you can kind of see what it does. Okay. Then I've done this one right here, and this is in Adobe, as you can see right here. This was done in Adobe, and these are exactly how the files look. I have not edited them, I have not tweaked them or anything like that. Once you do that, I recommend going over to Word. If you don't have Word, you can use LibreOffice, you can use OpenOffice. You can install fonts. I am not going to tell you where to go get fonts at. Do a Google search. Just be safe when you're doing the fonts. Make sure that the site doesn't have a whole bunch of pop-ups, etc. I am not responsible for what you do to your computer, even though I do own my own IT company with several partners. I am not going to encourage anyone to go do it arbitrarily. I do recommend you do some research on how to add fonts correctly to your computer. With that being said, I've added the Crunch font. I put it up to 22. I went and did a snippet. If you don't know, snippet is part of Windows tools from Windows, I do believe 7 and up. Could be wrong, but all you do to type it in is just do SN. You're going to get snipping tool. That snipping tool is going to come up. You just say new. You grab what you want. There you go. Now you've got that. Okay. So now with that being said, we've gone in here. Here is in 3D Builder. Now, like I said, I've already done this, so I'm going to skip a whole bunch of steps. But if you know 3D Builder, you've understood 3D Builder, you're kind of understanding where I'm going with this. So I've copied that. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to Control V, and I'm going to paste it. So you see right here, I've pasted it. It's hollow. I go ahead and select the image. I put a block in here. I put it to the size of this, which you can click right here, and you'll see the size. On the X and the Y. Now the Z doesn't really matter because you're going to pull this, when you put that block in, you're going to pull this down below. Once you have that block in there to catch those words, you're going to say copy, and then you're going to subtract. Okay, there's not anything for me to subtract, so I'm not going to get it. So that is going to leave you with this font right here. You can adjust that font, put it on there, subtract it. Once you subtract it, now here's the key. You'll see this is at 0.4 size. That is where you want it at. You want it no less than 0.2 and no more than 0.8. The reason why you don't want it higher than 0.8 is because you're going to be sitting there doing manual color changes. Now we're going to get into that in just a minute. But so you understand the concept. When you're doing this at 0.4 and stuff like that, you want to make sure that everything is going to be at 0.4. Now, yes, admittedly just realized I screwed up on the end result. However, I'm just showcasing you of what and how to do this. So this is not going to be a finished product. This is not something I'm going to do. I will tell you to correct myself. What you would want to do is you'd also want to make this part right here. So take that off and click that. And then I'm going to highlight this, and I would say to that to make it also 0.4. That's going to bring that in. I'm going to go ahead and settle that, and then I'm going to click off of that. I'm going to bring this down right there on top, and that should be maybe a little bit up or a little bit down, so I'm going to bring it right there. Okay, that looks like it's flush. That way now it all prints. Now this is going to make sense here in just a minute. We're going to go over here where I've already put a black background on it. Yes, I could trim it up a little bit, but again, this is just for show. This is just to show you the end product, of getting to the end product. So what I did here, this was actually at 0.4. So what you do is on this, you would actually put it at 0.4. This base plate right here, so if I take that off, this base plate is at 4.2. And realistically it should be at 4, but you know what, again, this is for staging. You subtract that 0.4 first from this, so now you have an indentation, and you'll notice that it says ungroup because I have not merged the files. I've left them as individual files, okay? Once you do that, you get it all settled and leveled and everything like that, and you can see what you want on the bottom right here, okay? So it's right there. Then you save it. I save it as 3MF. I now go into, minimize this, minimize this, minimize this, minimize this. Like I said, I've done a lot of the pre-work here. Now, here is this, and I know you're like, what in the tarnation is he doing here? Okay, so really quick, every color, so, well, I'm going to stop. So when you're doing a color change on Prusa Slicer, you know, you would actually go right here, you'd hit here, add a color change, and then you would basically say, okay, I'm going to do this color, boom, and now it would do a color change, okay? Well, we're not going to be doing that. So what we're doing here, and good, so I'm going to cancel that out. What we did here is we had it on the flat, okay? I knew I have 4 colors. I've got black, red, white, green, okay? So you go into print settings, you go to general, and you make sure that you say 4 extruders. So remember this knowledge. Each extruder represents 1 color, okay? A couple little things that you would go through. Custom G code. You want to make sure, oops, let me put that back over there. Make sure you go in here in the tool changer, put M600. Now, I also go in here and I do a little bit more, and people can correct me if you're wrong. Hey, this is the internet. Go ahead. Critique it all you want. Make your own video. I do ramping lift, so that way I don't get the blobs, and I make sure that I put it on all of my extruders. The other thing that I do is I go into print settings, and I am doing an advanced, not there, multiple extruders. I make sure I do the ooze prevention. I lower it by 10 degrees, so that way it does not ooze as much as it possibly will. And I also do a wipe tower. The infill, I put direct to linear. The layers don't really matter, but your seams need to be on random. Okay, I have experience with this. If you put them on the nearest or random or aligned, they should be on random, sorry, should be on random. If you put them on nearest or aligned or rear, you're going to have a fine line that's going to show up, and you don't want that. You want it as randomly as possible, so it's very insignificant that you do find one, but it's not going to be that prevalent. The last thing you do is you go through here. I've labeled my colors. I've put my base as the first extruder, okay? So if you scroll up here, finished one, that is my first extruder. That's black. My second extruder is white because, hey, white is the neutralist color. I want it to basically pop as much as possible. And then I do green, then I do red. Now, once I slice this, okay, here's how you're going to look at this. So you go all the way down here and go right here. And now you can actually kind of see your work. So you're going to do black. Now you're doing white. Now you're doing green. Now you're doing red. Okay. And then you'll notice that it kind of look right here, didn't really cover. That typically will do it. See right there, it comes back on the next pass and it'll do red. And you scroll right here. So now you're finishing up red, and now you're going into more black. A little bit of green, there you go. Come back over here. And now you're all black. And basically you just run it all the way up. And that is what the finished product is going to end up looking like. Again, this is just a test, but you should have the basic understanding of it.